Hi everybody. It's another waffle, which I haven't done one for a long time. It's well overdue. I came in here tonight, Sunday evening, to my school and just to do some of my own practice, my own training, which I finished, and I made some tea and I thought I have a little time, so I'll do a video. I've had some things on my mind lately which I thought I'd share with you. I used to do these videos fairly frequently, but there's other people now also doing kind of drinking tea, chatting Kung Fu stuff on YouTube, and I didn't want people to think that I was sort of jumping on a bandwagon. To my knowledge, when I was doing this a few years ago, there wasn't other ones going on, so that's an aside. I'd like to talk a bit about how to finally get good, whether you're doing Tai Chi or Kung Fu or mixed martial arts, or actually it's not just for martial artists. This really is for anyone who's on some kind of a path or a discipline or trying to build a skill. In Chinese, Kung Fu just means skill that takes practice and effort. So that's really what I want to talk about today, Kung Fu. Now, how are you going to get good? How are we going to finally get good? Because the New Year's coming up, and lots of people have New Year resolutions, right? Maybe every year people say, oh, I want to get fit, or I want to lose weight, or I want to, take up Kung Fu or Tai Chi, and then within a few months it's kind of fizzled, it's faded, the discipline's gone, all the good intentions are lost. How do you make this year the year you actually do it? Now, this is a no kind of bull. I'm not trying to sell anything. This is like I think it's genuinely much easier than people make it out. People try and make it way too complicated, way too mystical, way too difficult, and therefore I think people set themselves up for failure. So how do we set ourselves up for success for the new year? That's my question. I was watching a video on YouTube last week. There's a gentleman who created the Duo Lingo app, which is an app on the phone for people to learn languages. And the video was called, and I really suggest you watch it. It's 15 minutes of your time very well spent. And the video was called How to Make Learning as Addictive as Social Media. And I'm not going to repeat everything he said, but one of his ideas was that social media have spent a lot of money, millions. They call it the attention economy, where they've massively researched into how to kind of hack our brains and our dopamine system, and how to make the scrolling on Facebook and Instagram and whatever massively addictive. And of course, people spend hours on these things, on these platforms, often not doing anything terribly useful, and at the end of it feeling like, well, I've wasted time, and not feeling great about that. But that's the way the system is structured. So the idea of the Duo Lingo was, how can we use that power for good rather than evil? How can we use those same strategies to make people learn a language? And it was massively successful. Now, I've asked my students, how many of you guys use it? And a great number have these massive practice day streaks on the app. It's terrific. And it doesn't feel like a discipline. It feels like something you want to do because you don't want to break your streak and so on, and you get a nice little ping and a notification, and you get little rewards and so on. It's very, very smart. Now, traditionally in Chinese, they talk about the mind. They talk about the wisdom mind and the monkey mind. Okay, the wisdom mind sometimes is related to a horse, because a horse is wild, but it can be tamed. And a monkey can't be tamed. So a monkey jumps from branch to branch in the way our minds jump from thought to thought. So that's the kind of, some traditions call it the egoic mind and so on. And the horse is like the wisdom mind, or the higher self, and different traditions have different names for these. But broadly, the idea is this. There's a part of you that kind of knows what you should be doing. I want to get fit, or I want to practice my Tai Chi or my meditation or whatever it is. And there's another part of you that's like, I'll just watch one more episode of this, or I'll just surf social media for that. And that's the part which has to be overcome. Now, we try to fight it, and there's all these books about how to build this incredible discipline. There's books by sort of Shaolin monks and Navy SEALs, and the idea, wake up at 5 a.m. and you push yourself through this incredibly disciplined lifestyle. And what's the problem with that? It's not sustainable. It's not the way the human mind works. You maybe do it for a week or two, and then you crash, and then you feel like a failure, and then you swing right back to where you started. So I'm going to suggest that some of these extreme methods are not very useful. They're not. If you look at real special forces people, they have ideas like, I've heard them say, when you get a chance to eat, when you get a chance to sleep, sleep, because you never know in the mission, when you're going to where your next meal or your next sleep's coming from. In other words, we're hardwired to, if the chance is there, we'll take it. If the donut's there, we eat it. If the bed's there, we sleep, we nap. So that's just the way the human brain works. We need to figure out something that works with that, not against it. When you're fighting your nature, you're going against the Tao, you're going against your own nature, it's not sustainable. And things like this Duo Lingo app, is why it's so genius, is because it's easy. People find it fun and they don't want to break the streak. So here's my first strategy for 2024 for you guys, or New Year, whenever you're watching this. Let's harness that idea. Let's use this power for good. And you can download an app on your phone. There's plenty of what they call habit tracker apps, and there's loads of free ones. So I mean, I have one on my phone, which is called Habit Bull, but I mean, there's others, and this is it. So you can set up your habits you want to track, and every day, and you hit it. So let me see, I've just done my workout, so I'm going to hit that, and ding, I get my nice little dopamine kick for telling me well done, and that's my streak of 70 days just popped up. So that works, right? That definitely works. That's not it's not just a fad. That's the way our brains work. So download something like that first of all. That's my first tip for you, because then you'll want to keep your streak going. Once you get like a 20-day streak or whatever, you're not going to want to go back to 1 again. The other thing, it gives you notifications. Hey, you haven't practiced today. So set up the notifications. Turn off all the social media and email notifications, but keep that one, because that one's useful. That one's keeping you accountable. And I know this is not you want me to say something like some Taoist or Buddhist wisdom to say how to make you so disciplined and wise and so. That's not how it is. You want something that's so simple, and you want to set yourself up for success. So that's my first tip, and that's what I do. Again, it's nothing mysterious, very simple. The other thing is you want to make it easy for yourself to get the tick, to get that little dopamine kick. The way you do that is not to set the goal too high. Now, sure, we have long-term goals which are high, but you need to break it into small, achievable goals. So, for example, if your goal is to meditate every day, start with 5 minutes. If you do your 5 minutes, you get your tick. If you set 20 minutes and you fail, it's much better to get some momentum. By that I mean that you're doing it every day, you're forming a habit, and then one day you say, I'll sit for an extra 5 minutes. That's cool. And then a bit more. Before you know it, you're sitting for 20 minutes if you want to. But if you're not and you want to go back to 10, that's fine as well. You still get your tick. So it's not cheating. You're trying to build a sustainable habit. You're not trying to do a personal best every time you train. A lot of people don't understand the difference between practice and competition, which is going to be for another video. I'm going to talk about the difference, how we structure our training sessions for success, so we're seeing progress. We're not trying to cane ourselves. There's again, social media, very guilty. You go online, you see all these workouts where people punish themselves, and then they think like the best workout is when you come out crawling on your hands and knees and I've pushed everything to the limit. That is utterly, well, to be frank, stupid, because you cannot sustain that. Your body will break down. Now, occasionally testing yourself is a good thing, definitely, but how often, how frequent, how you vary between what's a test and what's a practice session and what's a workout, they're all different. And people just do the same thing. They'll go to the gym and they'll push themselves, or they'll go out for a run. I must beat my personal best every single time. And again, not sustainable. You break down, you get injured, you get depressed. Doesn't work. So I want to say something, and I'm not claiming I have the best methods, the best system, right? But what I have works. And I've been training for over 40 years, and it's not on and off. It's just, it's consistent. It's always been consistent. Now, sometimes more consistent than others. What do I mean by that? Sometimes I'm really on it. I'm dialed in. I'm practicing every day. And other times my discipline's not so great, because again, human, periods of life, sometimes things are not so. But I've never ever not trained. I've never ever not practiced. It's always been, right, what I'm working on. I have a goal. I'm working on something. I'm practicing most days. Now I try to give myself one rest day a week for my body to recover. As I get a little bit older, I'm finding recovery is a little slower, but I still track all my workouts and my training, which is, again, another video possibly. I can explain to you how you track these things, how you work on what you're improving, and how you need to schedule. And so, wow, loads of things we can talk about. But the first thing is showing up, is getting started. if you, for example, if you're a member of my class or my school, you come twice a week. If you don't, all the other stuff's irrelevant. You can get the best systems, fine tweak these final 3%, but unless you're actually coming and doing it consistently, it's just talk. So the first thing is make that habit. First thing. If it's a class, you're coming twice a week. If it's your own practice, you're doing, it might be just 15 minutes a day. If you're doing that, you've got your little tick for coming to class and you've got your little tick for doing your 15 minutes a day, you are going to make progress. It's guaranteed, right? Then we can talk about like the finer stuff, like how we schedule and how we wave and vary and set up the peaking and so on, cycling of all the different types of training, strength training, flexibility, cardiovascular, conditioning, training the iron body or for sparring or whatever. But these things are way less important than just showing up and doing the practice, because that's 80% of it. That really is 80% of it. So that was the first thing I wanted to talk about today. The second video was going to be, what makes practice effective? What's a more effective, how to make our practice sessions more effective. So video 1, how to make yourself, not make yourself, but how to get yourself to practice, first of all, because we know how to get good, answer, practice. Everyone knows that, right? Everyone knows that. Here's the thing. It's not about, you know you're supposed to practice, you also know you don't. So we want some strategies. So I'm starting with this app. So say you can just download a free habit tracker app. It doesn't have to be anything flashy, but it's making yourself accountable. So that's the first thing. So now you've set it up. Now you're someone who practices. Then we can say, how do we make our practice as effective as possible? The third video is going to be how to organize and plan a training peaking and like maybe say a 10-week plan or something like that. So that might be a third one, depending on people's interest. And you get back to me in the comments here, or you can always email me and ask me any questions. So we spoke about discipline versus habit, setting up for success, small goals, and this idea of a streak, right? Not breaking the streak. It's psychology, but it absolutely 100% works. So probably that's enough for today's video. Because the first step, a 1,000-mile journey begins with a single step, and the first step is practicing. Now, nothing secret, nothing amazing, but genuinely using these apps and setting up this idea of a streak and notifications is a game changer. It was for me as well. It made me much more accountable. So let's use the power of these apps and social media. Let's use it for good rather than evil, rather than playing another game of whatever or doom scrolling. Let's actually use this to do some useful stuff for next year. And once you're in that system, once you're in that flow, and then I can help you like get the most of each session and how to schedule them and so on. So that's for another video, but let's have some discussion, guys, because I really enjoy the discussion and the feedback. One thing I'm going to ask, what specifically do you want to know about scheduling and planning training? The other is, would you like me to do the next video live on Facebook so we can interact in real time? Or does it work better for you to watch it at your own time and comment underneath in the comments? So I think that's it for tonight. We're getting up towards the new year. I'm hoping a number of you are going to want to take up your practice or renew your practice in the new year. Let me know if you're thinking of coming back either to class or online. Let me know, and I hope you get back started. But either way, let's make next year good, and let's pick some goals, work towards them, and enjoy your practice. That's the most important thing. Thank you.